Wham! Boom! Pow! Fighting types. Pokemon that have mastered art of the martial variety. Fighting types are super powerful and can be really fun to use in normal run-throughs of Pokemon games. But this isn't a normal run. Today we will be taking on Pokemon Omega Ruby in a hardcore Nuzlocke using only fighting types. Can we do it and achieve greatness? Or will we be beaten to a pulp brutally? Already off to a great start, lads. Fly kicking things off, we find ourselves in the back of a moving van, and I would make a joke about bad parenting at this point if it hadn't been done in every single playthrough of a hoeing game by literally everyone on planet Earth. Starter time, and as only one of the final evolutions for these bad boys is of part fighting type, we have no choice but to pick Torchic. After we receive our starter, we beat up the Pokemon attacking Professor Birch, meet up with our soon-to-be wife, and get ourselves a handy-dandy Pokedex. Without a moment to spare, we head towards Petalburg City. After meeting our father, who fully deserves a karate chop to the face for abandoning us, we help out the local boy by assisting him in catching a Pokemon. Oh, would you look at that? A viable mom for us. Now, I'll be transparent with you boys and girls. I am using a very dodgy 3DS to record this. Totally legit, but hard to control if you catch my drift. So much so that at this point, I wasn't able to get our second encounter of this run. So we'll have to come back for this specific encounter at a later point. Onwards through Petalburg Woods, where we can finally get ourselves our next encounter, Shroomish. Now, I'm not going to touch on the recent controversy that Shroomish's final evolution has been involved in as of late, but just know that this line is not to be messed with. If you know, you know. After naming our friendly Shroomish Chan, we head on to Rustboro City where our first challenge awaits us, a battle with the very first gym leader in the run, Roxanne. Seeing as neither of our Pokemon in the party are fighting types at this point and there are no other encounters available, we go ahead with Torchic and Shroomish for this one. Combuskin would be a viable option, but Torchic doesn't evolve until level 16, which is 2 levels above the level cap at this point. Nonetheless, we head towards Roxanne for a fierce battle. The battle begins with Chan out against Geodude. A Mega Drain from Chan takes Geodude down to 1 HP as its sturdy ability kicks in. A Rock Tomb from Geodude in the same turn does a decent chunk to Chan whilst also lowering its speed. The following turn, Roxanne uses a potion on Geodude, bringing it back up to 3/4 of its health. Another Mega Drain from Chan takes the Geodude out. Out next for Roxanne is her ace, Nosepass. Nosepass outspeeds on the first turn and hits Chan with a tackle, doing minimal damage. Chan then lands a Leech Seed just to solidify the win. After a few hardens, tackles and Mega Drains, Nosepass couldn't hold out any longer and goes down, winning us the first gym badge of this run. After that victorious battle, we head outside the gym and deal with some shenanigans involving an evil organization and a stolen seagull. This happens way more often than you'd think in the real world, believe it or not, especially in Brighton. We take on the grunt, get an old man's beloved seagull back to him, and are offered a free ride to our next destination, Dewford Town. Before heading off to Dewford, we make a stop to see the champion's dad as he gives us a message to pass on to his son. Pretty strange considering phones exist in this universe, but hey ho. As promised, we meet the old man at his shack and he takes us to Dewford Town. We make a quick stop off in a cave to get another encounter as we find ourselves a chunky Makuhita. We catch him and name him Lee. The next gym leader, Brawly, is the same as us and has a team of fighting type Pokemon. This battle is going to be all about brute strength and power over any form of tactic. So let's see how it goes. The battle begins with Machop out against Chan the Shroomish. On the first turn, Chan lands a Leech Seed on Machop, who fires back with a Karate Chop, but thanks to Chan's ability, Machop is now paralyzed. Huge for us. With Machop paralyzed and Chan hitting it for great damage, a few more turns is all the Machop could withstand as it goes down to one more Mega Drain. Out next for Brawly is Makuhita. We do the same again, landing a Leech Seed on Makuhita as it returns with an annoying sand attack. Not to worry though, as we swap Chan out the following turn and bring out our starter Bruce. Makuhita goes for a bulk up in this turn, which could potentially be very scary for us. Fortunately for us though, Brawly doesn't seem interested in acting upon his stat boosts and continues to let embers from Bruce completely destroy it. Eventually, Makuhita goes down, leaving Brawly with no more Pokemon, winning us the second gym badge of this run. After making a quick stop off in the cave to meet a complete stranger to talk about some legendary Pokemon or something along those lines, we head east with our seagull loving friend and eventually reach Slateport. We did have to deal with some evil team shenanigans once again, but nothing crazy went down when battling the grunts. We did however meet the big bad boss of Team Magma, Maxie. Guy gives me the creeps, to be honest. It was finally time for a crucial part in the game to take place. Pokemon contest. Of course not. I'm in fact talking about the infamous run-ending battle against our rival, May. Although it did get a bit sticky at points during the battle, we were able to come away with a win against May. It could have gone a lot worse, but we pulled through. Making our way further north, we enter Moorville City where the next gym challenge awaits us. Before we can even enter the gym though, the little bitch boy from earlier is crying to his uncle outside the gym about how he can go out into the world on his own and be completely fine. So we naturally
crush his dreams right in front of him and destroy his poor little roots.
After Wally ran away crying, it was time to prepare for our next gym battle. Watson is the gym's leader and he specialises in electric types. We do have some good counters against his team, especially the Magnemite and Magneton, so this shouldn't be too much of a challenge. The battle begins with Bruce out against Magnemite. Knowing that the little magnet boy has the ability Sturdy, we opt to go for a double kick, hitting it for super effective damage and negating its sturdy ability from activating. Nice, quick and easy. Out next for Watson is Voltorb. Voltorb outspeeds Bruce and connects with a Volt Switch, bringing out Magneton in its place. Bruce then lands a super effective Flame Charge on the magnets, taking it down to just below half health whilst also increasing its speed stat. The following turn, Bruce knocks the magnets out with some double kicks. Voltorb then re-enters the battlefield, outspeeding and going for a charge. Bruce takes this opportunity and hits it with some double kicks. After a super potion on the next turn, Bruce connects with some double kicks and the same again for the next turn, taking the Voltorb down nicely. And with that, Watson has no more usable Pokemon, meaning we have won our third gym badge of this run. That went way better than I thought it would. After winning our gym battle, we steal a bike from the local bike store, as you do, then head north of Moorville where Chan decides she wants to evolve into a biblical verse. We eventually reach Route 112 where May is waiting for us. She gives us a quick talking to before we search around in the nearby patch of grass for another encounter. Soon enough, we find ourselves a matchup. After quite a bit of travelling, we make it to Meteor Falls where, what do you know, Team Magma are being evil again. Snumbags. They decide they don't want the smoke and retreat to the very top of Mount Chimney. Without hesitation, we make our way up to the top 2 to take on the pesky Magma admin and leader. The battle against this blob really didn't cause too much trouble. Annoyingly, the battle against Maxie wasn't in our favour whatsoever, with Lee the Hariyama being taken down by Golbat and our new addition to the team Donnie being used essentially as fodder. 2 deaths that could have been easily avoided. Completely my fault. But now that Maxie is out of the way, it's time to head to the next gym leader, Flannery. We make the decision to try and get another encounter before the battle. We head to Jagged Pass hoping for another fighting type and... the boy has risen! Well, with a different name of course. Flannery specialises in fire-type Pokemon, which is not the worst for us. It certainly isn't the best, as Chan is effectively useless for this battle, but we can make it work. Let's get into it. The battle starts with our newest team member Statham out against Flannery Slugma. On the first turn we set up with a bulk up as Slugma goes for a sunny day. The following turn a smackdown from Statham is enough to take out the Slugma. Next out for Flannery is Torkoal. A smackdown from Statham does good damage to Torkoal as it begins to buff its defense using Curse. Oh, not good. On the next turn, Torkoal goes for a sun-boosted overheat which nearly takes Statham out. Hanging on by a thread, Statham lands a Revenge which is fortunately enough to take it down. Phew, way too close. Flannery's final Pokemon is Numel. With the obvious choice of switching out here, we send out Bruce as he's hit with a lava plume doing little damage. The next turn, Bruce lands a double kick taking down the Numel and leaving Flannery with no more usable Pokemon. Gym badge number 4 is ours. After beating Flannery, there was not a moment to spare as we were now ready to take down our pathetic excuse for a father, Norman. Norman specialises in being a horrible parent, I mean normal type Pokemon. This gym should be an absolute breeze for us, but nothing is more scary in these games than a slacking. And what's even scarier than a slacking? 2 of them. Yeah, let's see how this goes. Starting off with Bruce out against Slacking, on turn 1, Slacking outspeeds and lands a Yawn, as Bruce lands a Flame Charge doing little damage. Not wanting Bruce to fall asleep, we switch out into Statham, who can have a clean switch thanks to Slacking's Truant ability. Another Yawn from Slacking on the following turn is making it impossible for any kind of setup for this battle. Eventually we are able to catch the right moment for an attack, and Statham takes down the Slacking with a Revenge. Well, that was easy. Out next for Norman is Vigoroth. We swap Statham out for Bruce as the Vigoroth fortunately goes for an Encore. On the next turn we outspeed and connect with a double kick, taking down the Vigoroth with ease. And last but not least for Norman is yet another Slacking. This could have been scary, but Slacking gets on the bad side of RNG as it goes for a Swagger boosting our attack, only for us to break through the confusion and connect with a double kick, one-shotting the Slacking entirely. Damn Bruce. And with that we have beaten Norman, giving us our 5th gym badge of this run. After defeating our deadbeat father, we made our way east towards Fortree City, but not before recruiting some new team members. We got ourselves a Mankey, which we named Lou, and a Tyrogue, which we named Hung. After meeting up with our boy Tack Zombies and protecting a legendary Pokemon from Team Magma, we head even further north. We come across the Weather Institution, where once again Team Magma are being a nuisance. One good thing to come out of this though is that Hung evolved into Hitmonlee and Lou evolved into Primeape, which is amazing for the team as a whole. But finally, after what seemed like an eternity, we make it to Fortree City, ready to take on our toughest fight yet. For those of you who don't know, Fortree's gym leader is Winona, a trainer who specializes in flying type Pokemon. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but flying types are super dangerous for fighting types. And if you've been paying attention to this run, you may have realized our whole team is made up of fighting types. This is going to be a massive test of strength for the team, a test that might even cost us the first attempt in this challenge. Let's see how it goes. The battle begins with Statham out against Winona's Swellow. Statham is immediately hit with a stab super effective Aerial Ace, but retaliates with a Revenge, knocking out the Swellow in one hit. 1 down, 3 to go. Next out is Pelipper. We decide to take a risk and use Bulk Up as Pelipper hits Statham with another stab super effective Aerial Ace. After return of Protect from Pelipper, it is then hit with a super effective Smackdown from Statham, bringing it into the yellow. A Water Pulse from Pelipper in the same turn, however, leaves Statham once again hanging on by a thread. After a Hyper Potion is used on Pelipper on the next turn, Statham is eventually able to take it down with one more Smackdown. Winona's next Pokemon is Skarmory. We are in a bit of a sticky situation here, as anything we switch out into is not going to take a flying type move all too well. We decide to send out Hung, who is our only option at this stage, as he is met with an Air Cutter, taking him down to the yellow. Unfortunately for Hung, the journey wasn't very long, as one more Air Cutter in the following turn takes him down. You will be missed, Hung. Well, sort of. You were here for like 2 minutes. With a clean switch in available to us now, we send in our starter, Bruce. Bruce lands a Flame Charge for decent damage, but an Air Slash from Skarmory in the same turn does huge damage. Hoping for a high roll, we use Flame Charge, and Skarmory goes down. Phew, that was way too close for Bruce. But now, for the biggest threat on Winona's team, Altaria. Not wanting to lose our boy Bruce here, our other best option was to go out into Chan the Breloom, which was hit with an Earthquake doing little damage. Chan manages to land a Leech Seed on the following turn, as Altaria fires back with a Dragon Breath doing decent damage. After a few more turns of the same, we decide to switch out into Lou, but unfortunately we get paralyzed due to a Dragon Breath from Altaria. I'm now speeding this battle right up because, as you can see, it was a complete cheese fest from here on out. Everything about this part of the battle literally made me want to rip out every single hair follicle from my skull. But eventually a critical hit assurance from Lou was enough to take down Winona's last Pokemon, and with that we have won ourselves the 6th gym badge of this run. Although I'd love to put how far we have come down to pure skill and strategy, I have to admit we have been extremely lucky so far. That luck has a high chance of changing, so I think it's time we get another encounter. We head to the Safari Zone, where we can get an amazing new teammate, Heracross. Luckily it didn't take us too long to find, as we catch the Beetle Girl and name her Oyama. The last gym battle was definitely our toughest yet, but there is competition for the hardest gym battle with our next opponent, or should I say opponents, plural, Tate and Liza. Before we can head to the next gym, however, a bunch of stuff with Team Magma takes our attention. From stolen submarines to infiltrating the team's base, we clean through a bunch of grunts, gain some much needed XP for the team, and claim bragging rights over a literal evil organization. We cross the seas with our fighting types and prepare to take on the psychic type gym leader duo. Let's see how we fare. The battle begins with well, isn't that just great? Turns out I was in fact not recording this battle, even though it went right down to the wire. It was such a good battle, and unfortunately we did lose a key team member in Chan the Breloom, who went down to a super effective Psychic from a Lunatone. Feels bad, man. I really wish you guys could have seen this battle, but it is what it is. Onwards, and what Pokemon game would be complete without an apocalyptic event occurring, right? Well, that's exactly what we were met with when leaving the gym. Steven asked us to try and stop Team Magma from going through with their plan to expand the land. So we agree and head into yet another deep cave, taking down grunts as we go, until finally we reach the core of the cave where Maxie is waiting eagerly for us. The battle with Maxie ended in a win for us and really didn't cause too many issues. Bruce deals with the Crobat nicely, and Statham is able to take down the Mega Camerupt with a single Revenge. Easy peasy. Maxie continues to go full on Psycho and awakens the almighty beast Groudon. Maxie, believing he would be able to control this colossal Pokemon, tries to give it commands, but Groudon just goes berserk. Who could have seen that coming? It's once again up to us to save the world from devastation and to unite all people within our nation. We head straight for Sootopolis, where we once again meet tax zombies and the 8th gym leader of this run, Wallace. We've been told that we are the sole answer to saving this world. We put on our hero suit, head down to where Groudon is freaking out, and confront the beast. And then we literally die. Yep, the lava was too much for us to handle, and we burnt to death. And that's all for this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to leave a like, and why not subscribe. Seeing as Groudon isn't a fighting type, nor am I allowing legendaries in this run, we put it out of its misery and saved the world. Woohoo! And finally, it was time to take on our final gym leader of this run, Wallace. Wallace is a water type trainer and has a few heavy hitters on his team. Let's see how our martial artists fare. Wallace kicks things off with a love disc as we send in Oyama the Heracross. Love disc poses no problems to us as it goes down after a few turns of pin missiles from Oyama. Next up for Wallace is Wishcash. Nothing was standing in Oyama's way in this battle as she is able to take down the Wishcash after a couple of pin missiles and a close combat. Wallace then sends out his Milotic. Seeing as close combat lowered our defenses last turn, we decided to switch out into Lou, who is hit with an insane hydro pump on the switch. Not having much choice but to attack here, Lou lands a karate chop for decent damage, but is hit yet again with another hydro pump, leaving him with no more HP. Rippy dippy Lou, you will be missed. We opt to send Oyama back in for some action, landing 3 pin missiles, taking Milotic down to the red. Milotic then comes back with a Hydro Pump, taking Oyama down to above half health. On the following turn, Oyama misses her pin missile as Milotic uses Recover, taking it to the green. We decide to take a risk and go for a close combat on the next turn, and Oyama gets the kill. The true MVP of this battle right now. Wallace's penultimate Pokemon is Celio. With Oyama's confidence high, we land another close combat and it is able to take down the Celio in one hit, which leaves Wallace with only one more Pokemon left. Seaking. An easy switch out into Statham, who can tank an incoming waterfall from Seaking, then a quick hit with Revenge to secure us the final gym badge of this run. GG's Wallace. This team has come a long way and has been a lot of fun to use throughout. I've always loved fighting types, but this run has solidified that love for sure. We set out to navigate our way through Victory Road with no issues whatsoever. Before heading any further though, we do head to Mount Pyre to get ourselves some Meditite. We reach the very end where Wally is in fact waiting for us. He wants to show us how far he has come as a trainer. We've already embarrassed him once in a battle, so let's do it again. And embarrass him we did, with Statham making a mockery of Altaria, Roselia and Delkay. Bruce is able to handle his Magneton with ease, and Wally's ace and starter Pokemon, now a Gallade, is able to Mega Evolve, but it still isn't enough, as Bruce outspeeds and one-shots it with a Blaze Kick. Yikes, Wally, get your shit together, dude. But now, the moment is here. 4 elite trainers and 1 champion await us. They are all that stands in the way of true glory. Let's find out if you can beat Pokemon Omega Ruby using only fighting types. The first of the Elite Four members is Sydney, who specializes in dark type Pokemon, with a team consisting of Mightyena, Shiftry, Cacturn, Sharpedo, and an Absol. This shouldn't be too bad, as dark types are weak to fighting types. Let's get it. The battle begins with Sydney's Mightyena up against Statham the Machoke. Thanks to Mightyena's Intimidate, Statham's attack stat has dropped, meaning it will probably be best to switch out here. We opted to go for our starter Bruce, who is hit with a Swagger, raising his attack but also confusing him. Fortunately, on the next turn, Bruce is able to break through the confusion and land a Flame Charge, taking down the Mightyena in one hit and also raising its speed stat. It's time to cook. Out next for Sydney is Shiftry. A fake out from the Tree Boy crits and does a decent chunk of damage to Bruce, but a Flame Charge on the next turn is enough to take it down in one hit. Sydney then sends out his Absol. Bruce misses a Blaze Kick on the Absol, which leaves Absol free to connect with a Psycho Cut, taking Bruce down to the yellow. On the next turn, Bruce does connect with a Blaze Kick, one-shotting the Absol. Out next for Sydney is Sharpedo. Not taking any chances, we swap Bruce out for Statham, who is hit with an Aqua Jet. On the following turn, Sharpedo outspeeds and lands a Slash as Statham retaliates with a Revenge, taking down the Sharpedo in the process. Last but not least for Sydney is Cacturn. A Needle Arm from Cacturn is almost enough to take down Statham, but he clutches to dear life and fires back with a Revenge, taking down the Cacturn in one hit. And with that, we have beaten the first Elite Four member. On to the next. Phoebe is a Ghost type Elite Four member and has a team consisting of Dusclops, 2 Bayonet, Sableye, and a Dusknoir. Some bulky and really annoying Pokemon to deal with, but let's see how we do. The battle begins as Phoebe sends out Dusclops and we send out Statham. We begin to set up straight away with a bulk up, but as expected, the cheese is real with Phoebe's team as Dusclops lands a Confuse Ray. The following turn, a knockoff from Statham is almost enough to take down Dusclops, but it lives by a thread. Dusclops then uses Curse, knocking itself out but causing even more of a nuisance for Statham. Out next for Phoebe is Bayonet. Having full confidence in our boy Statham to break through confusion, he does just that and connects with a knockoff, taking down the Bayonet in one hit. With the Curse doing slightly too much damage for my liking, we swap Statham out for Bruce the Blaziken, and fortunately for us, Bayonet goes for a Spite, doing absolutely nothing to us. On the following turn we use Bulk Up, raising our attack and defense, and Bayonet goes for another Spite, lowering the PP of Bulk Up. PP. After another bulk up from Bruce, Bayonet fires off a Shadow Ball, taking Bruce down to just above half health. Bayonet is then easily dealt with on the next turn by a Flame Charge, and in turn boosting our speed. It's time to cook. Out next is Sableye. A fake out from the Goblin Boy flinches us, but on the next turn Sableye is no match for a Blaze Kick from Bruce. And last out for Phoebe is Dusknoir. This thing is bulky, but it apparently wasn't bulky enough for Bruce's Flame Kick as it manages to OHKO the Dusknoir. The crit may have mattered, but we take those. With Phoebe out of usable Pokemon, we have won against our second Elite Four member. No time to waste as we make our way to the third Elite Four member, Glacier. Glacier specializes in Ice-type Pokemon, believe it or not, and has a team consisting of 2 Glalie, 2 Frostlass, and a Walrein. That's a really unique team you got there. Kicking things off with Glacier's Glalie up against Statham the Machoke. Once again we go with the bulk up strat as Glalie sets up a Hail. On the following turn Glalie connects with a priority Ice Shard, but Statham doesn't take kindly to that and retaliates with a Revenge, taking down the Glalie in one hit. Up next for Glacier is Frostlass. Frostlass lands a Blizzard thanks to the Hail, doing a great deal of damage to Statham. A knockoff in return takes the Frostlass out in the same turn. Deja Vu as another Frostlass hits the battlefield. Staying out with Statham here would be a very stupid idea, so we switch out into Bruce, who takes a Blizzard from the Frostlass no problem. On the following turn, Frostlass is taken out by a Blaze Kick from Bruce. Next out for Glacier is Walrein. We don't want to risk a water type move here hitting Bruce, so we swap out into Oyama, who tanks the incoming Surf. The following turn, a close combat from Oyama seals the deal and takes down the Walrein. The same fate comes to Glacier's final Pokemon, Glalie, who is taken down swiftly by a close combat from Oyama. With Glacier out of Pokemon, we have won against the third Elite Four member. Now, here's where my secret weapon comes into play. Our boy Funakoshi has been waiting for his moment to shine this entire run, and now his time has finally come. Next on the chopping block is Drake, a man who loves his dragon types. He has a team consisting of Altaria, 2 Flygon, a Kingdra, and a Salamence. A very scary team, but can we sneak a win? Let's find out. We start off the battle with Drake's Altaria up against Funakoshi. On the first turn, Altaria is no match for an Ice Punch from Funakoshi and goes down in just one hit. Out next for Drake is Flygon, who meets the same fate as Altaria after missing a Screech. Although Drake's second Flygon may have had a bit more fortune by landing a heavy-hitting Earthquake, Funakoshi returns the favour and OHKOs the Flygon with an Ice Punch. With Funakoshi on a dangerous amount of HP, we opt to swap him out for Statham, who is hit with a powerful Dragon Rush, taking him below half health. Not having much choice, we hope for a miss from the Salamence, but it doesn't happen, as Statham is hit with a super effective Zen Headbutt, taking him down. Statham was a huge part of this team, and it sucks that he went down the way he did. RIP Statham. Not allowing our faith to be shaken, we send out Bruce the Blaziken. A Blaze Kick from Bruce doesn't do a whole lot, but luckily we get the burn. What is our luck right now? Even with Salamance's attack stat half from the burn, a Zen Headbutt still does massive damage to Bruce. The following turn, Drake heals Salamence with a full restore as Bruce lands a critical hit Blaze Kick. We take a risk with another Blaze Kick and land, taking out the Salamence for good. Whew, that was shaky. Last out for Drake is Kingdra. Our best option for right now is to switch out into Oyama, which was for the best as Kingdra goes for a Surf. On the next turn, a close combat from Oyama takes Kingdra down to the red, and a Surf from Kingdra does the same to Oyama. Drake then uses a full restore on Kingdra as we land a Brick Break, getting it into range for a close combat on the following turn to take the Kingdra out. And with that, all the Elite Four members have been defeated. With all the Elite Four members down, there was only one more challenge awaiting us. Mr. Steven Stone, aka Tax Zombies. Steven is mad cool and has a really bulky team. This champion battle is going to be super challenging, but I'm so excited to get it underway, and without further ado, let's get it. The battle begins with Steven Skarmory out against Bruce. Bruce wastes no time and lands a Blaze Kick, taking Skarmory down to the red. Skarmory annoyingly lands a Toxic, poisoning Bruce badly. The following turn, Steven uses a full restore, leaving Bruce to get a free bulk up off. A Blaze Kick from Bruce would have been enough to finish the Skarmory, but thanks to its sturdy ability, it lives on 1 HP, firing back with some spikes. I stupidly went for a bulk up here, anticipating another full restore from Steven, but the AI is too smart for me as Skarmory goes for another round of spikes. Eventually, Bruce is able to take down the Skarmory, but at the expense of his own life, as sadly, the poison was just too much for him. Our starter, our Bruce Lee, rest in peace, you true legend. We send out Funakoshi in retaliation as Steven sends out Claydol. We decided it's time to cheese and go for a double team as Claydol sets up a reflect. Taking this opportunity to further our cheese, we go for multiple double teams, increasing our evasiveness. This did look like it wasn't going to work as a few earth powers from Claydol did hit and take Funakoshi down to the yellow. However, a clutch freeze from an ice punch means we might be able to pull this strat off. After a few more ice punches and Claydol not able to thaw out, Claydol goes down. Out next for Steven is Aggron. Funakoshi lands a quad effective earthquake, but we are once again thwarted by the sturdy ability. The double teams begin to pay off though as Aggron misses an Iron Tail. The next turn, Steven uses another full restore on Aggron, taking it up to full health, but is brought back down swiftly to 1 HP after another earthquake. One more earthquake on the following turn takes down the Aggron. Steven then sends out Cradilly. The luck for this run seems to continue all the way to the end as Funakoshi manages to get another freeze from an ice punch. Thanks to this, Funakoshi lands multiple ice punches without Cradilly getting a single attack off, taking it down nicely. Next out for Steven is Armaldo. A Zen headbutt from Funakoshi does a decent chunk of damage to Armaldo as it tries to come back with an attack but misses thanks to our evasiveness. On the next turn however, our luck runs out as an X-Scissor from Armaldo is enough to take down Funakoshi. Honestly, such a fun Pokemon to use and I just wish we had access to it throughout the run. Rest in peace Funakoshi. But now is not the time to be sentimental as we have a champion to beat. We send out a newcomer Helio to deal with the Armaldo. A Force Palm on the following turn takes down the Armaldo, leaving Steven with only one more Pokemon. His ace, Metagross. Steven Mega Evolves his Metagross straight away, but Helio is able to outspeed with a Force Palm, which miraculously manages to paralyze the Metagross. Nah, our luck is actually crazy right now. What is happening? Another Force Palm from Helio on the next turn does a good chunk of damage as Metagross breaks through the paralysis and lands a Giga Impact, taking Helio down. You may not have had a lot of screen time Helio, but damn, you are very, very important. We are now left in a 1v1 situation. Oyama the Heracross up against Steven's Metagross. We opt to go for a close combat and just miss out on the kill, but fortunately for us, Metagross has to recharge after using Giga Impact on the last turn. With excitement in our hearts, we click close combat, which is able to take down the Metagross and win us the battle. We have just beaten the champion of Hoenn. We have beaten the game. We have beaten Pokemon Omega Ruby using only fighting types.